What's up, everybody? It's me, Tread Bites, and I wanted to take some time to record this video because I just want to talk about something that has been eating me up for quite a long time. It's a thought that always just kind of lays dormant in the back of my mind. I want to talk about alcohol. I mean, you can use any manner of drug use and relate it to what I'm about to talk about, but mainly for me, it's alcohol. I'm unwinding for the day. I'm a bartender server. I work at a sports bar, and so I deal with alcohol all day long, all week long, all year long. It's something that I see bring out the absolute worst in people, and in some cases, bring out the absolute best. But the main point I want to really lock in on here is the driving while under the influence of alcohol. Because I don't know if it's just me and maybe my ego, but I genuinely feel like there is just this acceptance to people going out and getting behind the wheel after a night of drinking. And not just from the people doing it, but from everyone in the friend group, everyone in the family, at family gatherings or, with a bunch of friends when you're out drinking at a bar. It seems like we have such a disdain when people commit other crimes, as far as like murder, robbery, arson, thievery, whatever. But when it comes to holding your friends and your family members accountable for doing something as stupid as getting behind the wheel after a night of drinking, I never seem to see it. I mean, I see it every now and then, and I'm definitely the friend in the group that will tell everyone, hey, we need to get home safe. What are you doing, you idiot? Why are you you just had 4 shots of vodka and 15 tall boys in 4 hours. You're gonna go drive? But I genuinely want to know why it is that we as society don't shut these people down and embarrass them. For instance, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and where I'm from, and I'm sure where you're from, I know these groups are everywhere, there is a jailbirds Facebook group, meaning that whatever state you're in or city you're in, there's usually a group that posts the mugshots of all manner of crimes and people who committed them on Facebook. Maybe it's just me and where I'm from. Maybe we're just a little twisted here in the Mid-South. But what really triggered me and made me want to make this video, again, I see it all day. I mean, I serve alcohol to the public, and we're going to touch on that in a minute. But what triggered me and what made me want to make this video is I'm scrolling Facebook, I run across one of these posts, these jailbird posts, and it's a mugshot of a girl, a pretty attractive woman, and the thing she got arrested for was an aggravated DUI. Aggravated DUI, not a regular drive, a couple beers, aggravated DUI, meaning she was extremely intoxicated. And I think there was a hit and run, meaning that she hit something while she was drunk and then drove off. Nonetheless, pretty girl, pretty mugshot, and all I can see in the comments are, and I get it, most of it's probably just joking around, but I don't know, something tells me that's not the case, that a lot of these people are genuine when they say, oh, I can fix her, oh, free her, look at her, she ain't do nothing wrong. And there's even one comment where this girl says something like, oh, that's my sister, free her, man, she's a good person. And I'm like, are we looking at the same thing right now? This is not a good person. This is someone who has an aggravated DUI, meaning that they don't care that the fact that when they get behind the road, being as intoxicated as they were, they could kill somebody. And that's what doesn't click with a lot of people is when people murder someone out in the street during an argument, that's bad. Or when people go and steal something, from wherever, that's bad. Or if you set a fire, a building on fire, that's bad. And anyone in your friend group would probably be like, hey, you're kind of a shitty person for that. But when it comes to going and endangering people's lives, sometimes 4 nights out of the week, sometimes 5 nights, sometimes every single weekend, because most people who do this, who get DUIs and stuff, they do it over and over and over again. And to me, it's like, that's not a good person. Why would you want this person free? And again, maybe it's my ego, you know, maybe it's me, and I'm preaching from this high horse, but I don't think so. I think we as a society need to start holding our friends and our family accountable for the shitty things they do. And driving when you're drinking, or after a night of drinking, is one of the shittiest things you can do. And before anyone in the comments, you know, starts talking, oh, well, we were all young once. Yeah, I've never been one to really drink and drive. Never. I mean, maybe one beer, and but I've never had, more than a couple beers, and I've always called the Uber or had a friend come pick me up. But everyone's just okay with it, and again, I see these posts on Jailbirds all the time. Sometimes it's not a pretty girl. Sometimes it's someone's homeboy. Oh, free Jake. Jake. He's done this before. It's like, no, don't free Jake. Lock his ass up. This is his 4th DUI. Lock his ass up. It's 5 years. Maybe he'll figure out how to stop drinking and driving. I don't know. I can't stand it. And now we're going to talk on, what I see every single day working at a sports bar. And I get it. I'm not saying don't drink. I've had my vices for a very long time. I'm over like 7 years sober from all the crazy stuff, but I've definitely rolled around in the dirt myself. I've never, gotten behind the wheel after a night of rolling around in the dirt. Maybe once or twice in my life, but I definitely didn't make a habit out of it. And once I got to a certain age, I realized this is never going to be worth it. But that just does not, and I'm not talking about just the youth. I'm talking about nobody gives a damn about this, it seems like to me, as someone who serves alcohol to the public. I'm talking 20-year-olds, I'm talking 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, moms, dads, brothers, grandpas, everyone. They will all drink to excess. Spend 4 hours in my section or at the bar drinking, tall boys, drinking shots, drinking mixed drinks, and they always get behind the wheel and go home. There's, for every bar that you go to and you spend a night hanging out at, you will see maybe a couple Ubers, but I always, when I pull into a bar, or when I pull into work and I see it packed full of cars, I can't help but think, how many of these people are gonna drive home drunk after this game or after whatever? And it makes me sick, And unfortunately, if you work in the food industry, if you work in the bar industry, you can't. Yeah, there is such thing as cutting people off, but anyone who's done this long enough knows that you can't just cut people off when you know they've had enough. You can't. You'll lose your job. You really will. I mean, your managers, they're there to make money. The business that you work at, they're there to make money, and their money is in selling alcohol. But as the server, as the bartender, if you go and you start cutting these people off, once they hit the legal limit, and I don't care how long you've been drinking, there is no scientific evidence to back up the fact that you've been drinking for 20 years. Doesn't matter. 4 beers is going to still contain, you're going to have the same amount of blood alcohol as you would, if it's the first time you've ever drank. There is no difference. Your motor skills are still going to be affected. You're still going to be a danger behind the wheel, even if you've been an alcoholic for 20 years and you know what you're doing. I've done this forever. I don't care. You're a scumbag if you do this every single day. Because you got to think, you're not just putting. Let's take the selfishness and the narcissism into account here. If you're not worried, you're obviously not worried about killing anyone else. Someone's mom, someone's kids, someone's dad, someone's brother, sister, someone's lover. That's obviously not going to bother you. But what about killing yourself? It's just as easy to drive off a bridge or to drive into a building. I've lost people to drunk driving. Extremely young, at extremely young ages. I've lost friends because they wanted to drive from the city all the way to where we live, drunker than shit, and they died because they thought they were fine. And I looked up the statistic the other day. It's like over 12,000 alcohol-related driving incidents cause deaths every year. And I think it said something like 33 deaths a day when it comes to alcohol-related driving. Whether it be pedestrians being hit by people driving, but it's insane. And again, going back to my work, I serve people, and the amount of parents that will come in and sit at my section or sit at the bar top, usually not the bar top, but they'll sit in my section And they'll have a 4-year-old, they'll have a little toddler sitting in the baby stroller, and they'll have like a 10-year-old with them. And there's usually 2 adults, sometimes maybe more, and the amount of times I see every single adult drinking beers. You know, they each order a round every time I come to the table. They get another round, and I can't help but sit there and think, who's getting these kids home? Who's taking these kids home? Are any of the 3 adults here going to take the kids home? No. Yes, they do, unfortunately. They always get in the car after every time, after every meal, they get in the car and they drive these kids home drunker than shit. And it just disgusts me, dude. It's sickening. And I've been the guy that's gone to my managers and, you know, and gone to the bosses and said, hey, these people got kids with them and they need to stop drinking. And, you know, sometimes the manager will be like, yeah, you're right. But most of the time, it's, oh, you're making a big deal, dude. You need to relax. I need to relax. Okay. And again, maybe it's my ego. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem, but I just can't abide by it, man. And a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, find another business. It's not going to change anything. Me never serving alcohol to the public again isn't going to change the fact that this happens every single day. At restaurants all over the world, at bars all over the world, every single day. People are just getting shit-faced and driving themselves, driving their kids, driving their family home every single day. And it's a serious problem. And I see it so much. And again, it just goes back to my point, you know, be that friend in the friend group. Be that family member. I don't care how young you are and how much older your family member. Be that person to tell them, hey, you have a problem. If you have, every time I've gone out, I've seen the amount of money people spend. Again, I'm not a drinker. I never really have been. I mean, 2 beers at most is usually it for me. Maybe a shot. But I'm spending, you know, on just those like 30, 40 bucks. And then I see all these people around me spending hundreds of dollars every weekend on alcohol. And these people can't take 20, 30 bucks to put to the side to make sure they can get an Uber home. And that's where it comes into play. It's never oh, well, I just can't afford it, or oh, it's just too hard to get home. We live in 2026. The accessibility to transportation is just insane. And I live in a city where public transportation sucks. There are public buses, yeah, but they suck. And I'm not talking like they're rough to be in. I'm talking you will not see them around because they just suck. But I do live in a place where getting an Uber is extremely easy. It might cost you a couple bucks, but you're spending that money on alcohol anyway. So again, you know, I'm going on a tangent. I don't want to make this video too long, but I think we as a society, we really need to shut this down. As friends, as family members, hold your people accountable. Be that person in the bar saying, no, we've had too much. We need to get an Uber home. You know, Tommy doesn't need to get behind the fucking wheel. He's the drunkest one here. Oh, but Tommy does it. He's a pro. Tommy's a scumbag if this is what he does every single week. He's been doing it for how long? Wow. What a guy. Endangering people every single weekend just because he can't put 20 bucks away for an Uber. Or even at the bars, you know, if you're, I don't know, I don't want to say if you're a customer sitting in a bar and you see this family getting drunk while their kids are running around, don't be the guy to go and cause problems, but at the same time, someone should start shaming these people. You know, the server can't do it, or they're going to risk losing their job, or, you know, getting, you know, just less money at the end of the day, and we are there to pay bills. The managers can't do it, even if they want to, because then their higher-ups are going to get mad at them. Why are our alcohol sales down? You guys are cutting people off? What? It's just insane. And I understand everyone has vices, but that's no excuse. 33 deaths a day, based off the statistic I just read. 12,000 deaths a year. Kids, mothers, brothers. I mean, I could go on. You know? And I don't care if I'm going to be the guy that kills the mood or I'm killing the vibes, man. I don't care. You guys are killing people, ruining families, ruining lives because you're narcissistic and you guys can't order a fucking Uber or just not drink and drive. Do it at home. Throw a party at the house, you know? But yeah, again, this is just something that has been driving me crazy. It's something that I cannot stop thinking about. And being able to vent about it a little bit to the internet, it kind of makes me feel better. So I'd love to know what you guys think. You know, if you have comments, if you think I'm just, you know, sitting on a high horse preaching to everyone, tell me. Let me know. I would love to know what you guys think about this. Do you agree with me? Do you think it's a problem? Do you think that we need to start holding people accountable? Judges, if you're sitting on your third DUI, 5 years automatically. Boom. I guarantee you, if we start locking people up for years on their second DUI, we will see a drop in this drastically. But we're never going to see that because the courts make money off of 15 DUIs and, you know, but yeah, I would love to know what you guys think. Usually we try to focus on gaming here, but I don't know. You know, I might make a video like this every now and then when I kind of just share my thoughts on what's going on in my life. And right now it's this. I'm consumed by this frustration with the world and society because we are not taking care of each other. We're not caring about each other, and we're just selfish. You know, at the end of the day, doing that, taking any form of drug, you know, and pot too, man. I was a pothead for a very long time, and I will be the first to sit here and tell you, if you're gonna smoke a blunt, a joint, hit the bowl, hit a dab, and then go get behind the wheel, you're just as dumb as those people that drink and drive. You know, same with the prescription pills. If you're gonna pop 3 Xanaxes and then, you know, you're just as bad. So. Anyways, to anyone who stuck around, thank you for listening to Ramble. Again, I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What are your thoughts? Drop a like, drop a comment. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. You can find me live every Monday and Tuesday on twitch.tv/TrevBites around 9:30, around midnight the rest of the week. So that's probably where I'm going to leave it. Thank you guys. Thank you for your time.